Zion being hurt, JimmerRange dominating the most improved race, Tyler Hero on pace to win 6th Man of the Year, Cam Reddish getting traded. These are just some of the very interesting storylines we're seeing from the 2019 draft class. So I think it's a good time to revisit it and see how different it would be if it happened today. If you guys like the content, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Let's go for 4 likes on today's video, and let's get into this. Today's video is sponsored by PrizePicks. It's a super simple to use player prop site that's legal in most US states. They just give you the line and you pick over or under. Now for today's entry, I wanted to do something a little bit different. With us talking about the 2019 draft, I decided to make that the theme of this entry. We're going to kick things off with RJ Barrett's over on points. Then I threw in Cam Johnson's over on assists. He only needs 2, lock that in. Then I went over free throws made, and I got Darius Garland's over, who only needs 3. That's too easy. And then lastly, you guys already know I've got to add in a 3-pointers made. The only thing is we don't have any players from the 2019 class to choose from as of right now, but I still need to add one. I didn't love any of them, so I just went with the lowest and got Drew Holiday, who only needs 2. So there it is. The over. If it hits, my $20 entry is going to turn into $200. If this looks interesting or you just want to play along, go to the link in the description or use code JIMMER as you see on the screen, and they're going to give you a deposit match up to $100, which is amazing. Thank you PrizePicks for sponsoring today's video. We're going to start things off with the number 1 pick in the hands of the New Orleans Pelicans. This is a super interesting start to the redraft. Leading up, Zion was one of the most obvious and clear number 1 picks regardless of who got it we had seen in a very long time. As time has gone on, while when he's on the court, he's looked like a possible generational talent. He's no longer a lock to be that top pick. It's definitely an interesting debate, and honestly, I don't mind if you still want to go with Zion, considering just how high his upside is. But personally, considering what we know JimmerRange is right now, and the questionable future of Zion due to his current and future health risks, I'm going to go with JimmerRange. If Morant had a repeat season of what he did last year, I'd be going with the upside of Zion, but that's not what he has done. He has shot up to the elite point guards of the league. He's on pace to just run away with most improved, averaging 25, 7, and 6, shooting 49% from the field and 35% from 3. Not only is he putting up numbers, but he's leading the Grizzlies to the 3rd seed in the Western Conference right now. So based on what we are seeing, I think it's hard to go elsewhere. The Grizzlies are at 2, and I don't think there's any question. With JimmerRange not here, they're going to go with Zion Williamson. Now, I've seen a lot of people express some serious concerns about his health, and while I agree they are valid to an extent, injuries have always been something that's extremely hard to predict, and he just has too much upside to let him fall any further. When we last saw him a season ago, in just his 2nd year, he was averaging 27, 7, and 4, shooting 61% from the field. If that's the player you are getting the rest of his career, he reaches the value of that pick, no doubt about it. But we still have no idea of what his ceiling truly is. This injury situation with Zion has been weird. We went into the season expecting to see him on the court, and then all of a sudden, it comes out he has this foot injury, but should only miss the first couple weeks. Well, weeks turned into months, and we still have no solid reports on when to expect his return. The 3rd overall pick is in the hands of the New York Knicks, and it's another very interesting situation, and it's going to be close. You really have 3 players to decide between. The original selection, RJ Barrett, the 13th pick to the Heat, Tyler Hero, and the 5th overall pick to the Cavaliers, Darius Garland. It's close, but based on what we're seeing this season, I think I've got to go with Garland. RJ Barrett's consistency is still something really holding him back. Tyler Hero might just be best fit as a top tier 6-man, while Garland looks like a future elite point guard in this league. Stepping up in the absence of Colin Sexton, he's been able to show what he's truly capable of. He's averaging 20 points and 8 assists, shooting 46% from the field and 36% from 3. Not only that, but he's been the floor general of a Cavs team that's been one of the biggest surprises of the season, currently just a game shy of the Bucks as the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. The point guard position has been a rotating door as of late for the Knicks, and while I still think Barrett has an amazing future ahead, I think Garland just edges him out. The 4th overall pick in the draft switched hands a couple times leading up. It started with the Lakers, then went to the Pelicans in the Anthony Davis trade, and eventually ended in the hands of the Atlanta Hawks, who decided to go with a Virginia forward fresh off an NCAA title, DeAndre Hunter. Call me crazy, but I am slightly tempted to have him stick with this selection. Hunter has struggled to stay on the court, but when out there, he's been one of the best 3-and-D wings in the league, and we have seen him flash star potential. But while I'm tempted, as I just said, they decided to take advantage of a new player on the board and go with RJ Barrett. Hero is definitely another option, but I don't think it takes too much explanation to why he might not be the best fit alongside Trae Young. RJ Barrett has been a frustrating player to watch so far in his career. He goes on these stretches where he looks like he he could truly be a superstar, but then he always seems to follow it up with a stretch of games where he looks like his rookie self. For example, in the last 14 games, he's averaged 23 points, 7 rebounds and 4 assists, shooting 39% from 3, but in the 18 games before that, he was averaging 12 points, shooting 35% from the field and 30% from 3. Now, I definitely think this is something he can get past, and with how well-rounded his game can be, I still think his upside is too much for the Hawks to pass on. The 5th overall pick is in the hands of the Cavaliers, who are sad to no longer get the chance to grab Darius Garland, but still end up with a great player in Tyler Hero. Now, this is an extremely questionable fit. We are assuming that Sexton is remaining on this team. In a lot of ways, they're basically the same player. In fact, Colin Sexton probably needs to take some notes from Hero and realize he might be best fit coming off the bench. While the fit is clearly questionable, he's a top player on the board, and I don't think there's much of a question that they would go with him. The 6th overall pick is another interesting spot. The Suns started off here, but on draft night, they decided to move down to the 11th overall pick where they got Cam Johnson, and the Timberwolves ended up here where they took Jarrett Culver, who I think it's safe to say is probably the bust of this draft. With the chance to remake this selection, they without a doubt are going with DeAndre Hunter. As we've talked about, we need to see him prove he can stay healthy, but when playing, he could really be the missing link in the Timberwolves lineup, playing alongside Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns. This is actually one of my favorite scenarios from this redraft. The 7th overall pick is in the hands of the Chicago Bulls, who originally went with Kobe White. While he's had some super impressive flashes throughout his career to this point, and while he's solid for them currently, I think it's safe to say he just hasn't reached his expectations. This year he's averaging 13 points, shooting 44% from the field and 35% from 3. There isn't a clear hole to address based on who's here, so I just have them going with the best player available, and right now, I think that's Keldon Johnson. He hasn't gotten much attention playing for a struggling Spurs team, but he's really turned into a great young wing in this league. This year he's averaging 15 points and 6 rebounds, shooting 46% from the field and 44% from 3. The 8th overall pick is in the hands of the Pelicans. This is the first of their 2 first-rounders that they got from the Hawks from moving down from the 4th overall pick. A decision that in retrospect is kind of questionable. They originally got Jackson Hayes here, and I don't think there's any question they're not doing that again. There's a couple options, and while this won't be a huge upside selection, I've got them going with Cam Johnson to pair alongside JimmerRange. Since getting drafted to the Suns, he's just gotten better year after year, and he's now one of the league's elite 3-and-D wings. He's averaging 12 points, shooting 46% from the field and 43% from 3. Again, I don't think the ceiling on Johnson is very high at all, but the value he can bring immediately is just too high to let him keep falling. The 9th overall pick belongs to the Wizards, who originally went with Rui Hachimura, an alright selection to this point, but in this redraft, they're actually going to go with Matisse Thybulle. Thybulle is one of those players that isn't a sexy selection on paper. In fact, it looks like it makes no sense. I mean, he's averaging 6 points, shooting 29% from 3, but where he lacks on the offensive end, he more than makes up for that on the defensive end. He's one of the league's elite defenders. In just his second season, he was able to make all defensive second team coming off the bench. This year, it looks like there's no question he's going to manage to make one of those teams again. The Wizards have a solid amount of offensive firepower, and while fans would probably want to see them go with a more flashy selection, they get a huge defensive upgrade with Thybulle. For the last selection of the video, we've got the 10th overall pick in the hands of the Hawks, who originally decided to go with Cam Reddish, who they just recently traded to the Knicks, so I think they're going to go a different route. There's a couple options, but ultimately, I've got them going with Jordan Poole, a player that's had his ups and downs this season, but I think it's very clear he's on the brink of becoming an amazing offensive talent in this league. Like we talked about with Hero, I don't think this is an amazing fit alongside Trey. There also isn't a clear place for him on this roster with the other guards such as Bogdanović and Herter, but I think he is the top player on the board currently, so they go with him and figure out the rest later. Those are all the selections we have for today's video, but I just want to give some honorable mentions for some players that are going to be coming off the board in the next few picks. This would include guys like Cam Reddish, Kobe White, PJ Washington, Rui Hachimura, Kevin Porter Jr., and Lou Dort. But that's the end of the video, guys. You guys tell me your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.